Hey, Ed here from 10,000 Foot View, and I've got another Google Ads quick tip for you today. Just before I jump in, a reminder to please like our content and subscribe to the channel. We post about Google Ads at least once every week. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about if you are looking for a new pay-per-click agency and you don't have a reference or something else to go on, and you're basically maybe you're searching Google just for pay-per-click agencies that meet maybe some criteria or whatever. And what you can do as a first step is vet the websites of those pay-per-click agencies just to make sure they're credible. Because obviously you don't want to waste your time with an agency that's disreputable. So this is how you can do that just from website information. All right, so the first thing you want to do is a Whois lookup. And basically, you can do that on GoDaddy, or you can just look on Google for Whois. You'll be able to do a lookup for free. And that will tell you when the domain was registered for that website. And all you're looking for there is if the website claims, we've been in business for 10 years. And the Whois lookup shows that the domain was registered a week ago. Obviously, it's a big red flag. There are circumstances where a company may rebrand, or they may be talking about experience of their staff being 10 years, but not the agency being around for 10 years. But read the language carefully, and if it is deceptive, then I would just avoid them. All right, the second thing will be a street address and a phone number. And a lot of pay-per-click agencies like ours, we don't make it front and center because we prefer to receive requests through contact forms or request a consult form, which is more manageable for us. But we do include that information. It's not impossible to find, right? So if you go to the contact us page, then you'll see that our street address is here along with our phone number. This phone number will be different for you, by the way, if you visit, because we use dynamic number tracking. But the idea here is that we are located in Toronto, and we're offering services in the US and Canada primarily. What you want to avoid is an agency that's not disclosing their address or their phone number because they're in another country and they're pretending that they're local. And again, there's nothing wrong with offshoring. If you want to work with a company in India or in Brazil, perfectly fine, but you should be aware of that, should be transparent. All right, the next thing is testimonials and reviews. And all websites should have them. And that goes beyond agencies, but certainly agencies should have them. In our case, you'll see we have a bunch here on the homepage. We do have another dedicated page with even more of these. The most important thing here is the full name of the person and their business name. So if you're on a pay-per-click agency site and you only see like Frank P and Nancy S, that's a huge red flag that those testimonials are probably not legitimate, and I would just stay away from that website immediately. In terms of reviews, Google reviews and Facebook reviews are very trustworthy. There are other types of reviews that are third party, like Trustpilot, where the business that's receiving those reviews actually can delete the poor reviews, so they're not as trustworthy, but they're still better than just testimonials that are basically added randomly to the site. Then we have portfolio and case studies. And portfolios, there's kind of one main way that everybody does it, and that is basically displaying the logos of their customers on the site. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to vet whether these are companies that the agency is legitimately working with. But if you do have other concerns about the agency being trustworthy, you can obviously ask for reference from some of these companies and see what they come back with. The other thing I'd say is that a lot of agencies like ours will actually provide a lot more, a much bigger portfolio when we provide our slide deck. We just don't necessarily want all of our clients in a list available on the web where our competitors can start phoning them up one at a time. Then the next thing is add platform badges. And so, in our case, we're a Google Premier partner, we're a Meta Business partner, and a Microsoft Select partner. These are the three platforms we work with. If you see a badge here where it says like Premier 2022, then that means that that agency has not been a Premier partner since that time, in all likelihood. You should normally be able to click through this badge, in Google's case, to see verification that that badge is legit. You can also go to Google's partners website and just search for that agency. Similarly, you can do that with Meta, and you can do that with Microsoft. In the case here, we're a select partner, which is like the middle tier. There's like a basic partner tier, select, and then I think it's elite is the top level. So we're kind of in the middle. But the idea is the badges should be current for this year. Usually there's a delay of several months. So like in the beginning of 2025, you may not get your badges updated. It's like March, April, but by then they should be. In Meta's case, they don't actually have badges, so agencies just make their own. But if you talk to an agency and they say, well, we don't believe in that whole badge thing, it's not important. Well, if it's, they'll say it's like, it's really easy to get a badge. Well, if it's so easy, like, why don't you just go through those basic steps? So this definitely does lend credibility that, the agency is working with other clients, right? Because you can't get a badge if you're not advertising for clients. In the case of Premier, it's actually the top 3% of agencies. So you're probably working with a lot of clients, and you're probably heavily focused on Google Ads as a service. Anyway, that's badges, very important in my opinion. And then the last thing you can look at is content posting. And that can just, essentially show that the agency has a track record where they're putting out content that is relevant, and that they're subject matter experts in the services they're offering, right? So if they're a pay-per-click services agency and their blog is all about something different than like what's going on, right? There's a bit of a disconnect, or they don't have a blog or a YouTube channel or LinkedIn. If they're basically not putting out content, it's a bit of a warning sign that they may not be that expert in their area. Because most agencies have been around for some years, they're actively giving back in terms of providing that information. So that's basically it. None of these things are definitive, and there's always like gotchas, as I said, with the Whois, where an agency may have done a rebrand and they've registered a new domain, or they went away from a .ca to a .com domain. But certainly, if you see these issues and you're still interested in working with the agency, make sure that you flesh these out when you have a discussion. It's like, hey, we noticed that the website was newly created, the domain was newly created. What's up with that? And they might say, yes, we did a rebranding 6 months ago, or what have you. Anyway, if you are searching for a new pay-per-click agency, these are some things to check right up front, which can definitely streamline the process. I hope you found this video useful. That is it for me today. I will see you next time.